we have got the Clover handy thread twister, which makes a cool cord like this, and it also has a we also have the tassel maker in a small and a large, and you can make a cool tassel, lots of different sizes. So if you're jumping live, thank you so much. I'm going to hold these up. It's making it like really blaring. So if you're joining me live, thank you. I'm so glad that you're here. Be sure and comment and let other people know as I go, because I won't be chatting as much during this. Welcome to the replay. If you're joining me on replay, I'm so glad that you caught me here. We have a video live, or either recorded or live, every Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central for my time, every Friday. So I'm so glad that I'm able to bring these to you live on YouTube, which is a really cool thing. And I decided to do like a live unboxing. And so I'm going to be opening these up, showing you how to use them, because sometimes when we get those directions, they're not always quite clear, right? So Clover did a really good job, though. They've got a lot of extra handy tips and stuff in there, and I really want to show you how to do them. So I made this sample one to show you. So we'll be making tassels, and you can make it how you want. You can make it out of any colors. This is just what I'm using, and I'll go over some of those products. But to get more information, as always, you can click on the link in the description below on the replay, or during the live broadcast. We will have our GoodKnit Kisses producer and assistant here, Joanne Gay, and she will be posting that. She'll either appear as GoodKnit Kisses or herself. I think it might be as GoodKnit Kisses. So I'm so glad that you joined me. If you're ready to get started, hit that like button or give me some feedback here, and tell me what you've been thinking. Have you been considering getting any of these? Have you seen them? First, let me just show you the different products I'm holding up. So I announced it right when I went live, but I'm going to say it one more time if you're just now coming on. I'm going to be working with this handy thread twister, and it makes a cord like this one on the top, so that you're not using, let me get closer to my camera. There we go. So you're not just having a bare thread or yarn. And then I've got these two, which are the tassel makers, and there's a small and a large. And so I'm going to show you how to do those. So I'm going to flip the camera here, have a little patience with me as I adjust, and we'll get started. All right, hold on. All right. So, whoops. There we go. You're seeing my ceiling for a second there. Oh, Maureen says she has a tassel maker, but it's still in the package. Well, Maureen, let's solve that for you. First, I am going to create a cord with the handy thread twister, so you can see how to do it, because you're going to need the cord to put inside your tassel. So if you notice, let's give you the mechanics of this tassel here. You've got your cord. It's coming right out the middle. This is a very professional looking tassel. Like, seriously, you can use these in any way that you can imagine. You can even, you know, those macrame plant hangers that are really popular again. You can even like do some really fun ornate decorative tassels too. You can even add beadwork to it, adding around the sides too. But this is a really well-made tassel. I'm not kidding. All right, so like the twisty thing. All right, I'm gonna set these aside. And let's look at the handy thread twister. And the link to all these products, we do have an affiliate link in our blog post, and it shows you all the information to where to get one if you don't have one. Excuse me. All right, once you open it up, of course, we got our packaging, and then you can open it up like this, and you're gonna see the different instructions included here. And then, of course, the thread twister. You're also going to need some sharp scissors and your thread. All right. And so this is what the directions look like. For copyright purposes, I'm not showing everything, but I want you to see how it's used. So it does give you what you're going to need is the thread, and it says to use 2 pieces of the same length, because you're going to be putting them on these little gears. There's these hooks here, and then there's the gears on the side. So see these little hooks right here. Do you see it has these little hooks on it? Okay, so we're going to be tying the threads to that, and then it has this little twisty thing, right? And then this is just for your hand. All right, so this it's called a grip. They've got it as a grip. So the thread, you're going to need 2 pieces the same length embroidery thread, number 25 or 5. If you're using embroidery thread 25, then you want to make sure it has 6 strands, or you can use a woolen yarn of medium thickness. And I also used just a medium weight yarn, and that worked too. I've used some other yarns, and it doesn't really matter. They're just medium weight yarns. And then this one is from Premier, and it's called Rodeo. It's a new one. It's a cotton blend. It's really cool, and it makes this really cool tassel. So I'm going to be using that today. And I just don't have any embroidery thread on me, but I've already experimented with it. So you can really see the stripes because it's got another thread twisted in here already. So do you see how it's lining up like this? And the twist is like this, and it's not like this. Okay, when we look at our chart, it's an S formation, right? So it slants from top left to bottom right. Even if I turned it upside down, it's still going to twist from top left to bottom right. Okay, so that's just how it is. And it tells you how to turn the gear. So it tells you if you're turning it like this, counterclockwise, or like this, which is clockwise. Now, you could choose to turn it counterclockwise from top to bottom, but if you want to use your other hand, then you would have to go from bottom to top to get it to turn in that direction. So you can use it left or right-handed. So that answers that question. You have to pay attention to how you're rolling this little gear. Okay, so now that I know I'm going to have an S twist, that tells me that I'm going to be turning my gear counterclockwise. Okay, so first we're going to do is, I'm not going to rely on these directions here, but I want to show you one more thing. We're going to be adding these ties on here, but I want to show you there's a little thing here that says the appropriate length and the final thread. So it tells you the final length that you want, and then this is the length that you're going to need of thread. So you need a longer amount because it's going to twist it up. But you actually need a little bit longer than this because whenever you tie it on, which is what I'm about to do, the little threads get shorter because I have to clip this end short. So you need enough to tie on with. So you could even cut it longer, and then once you tie it and cut it on here, then you can trim it to the length that you want. It doesn't say that in the instructions. And then also it says number of turns needed. And to me, it has a little bit high number on here, and I'm going to show you a trick on that. All right, so let me get my thread out. And in fact, I've already got these already cut. Now I'm going to use the one I told you about, which is this Premier Rodeo. And then I've just got another medium weight yarn in a white, so that when it twists together, it's going to have a little bit more of that white stand out, if that makes sense. All right, so let me see if I can zoom in. Hold on, let me adjust my camera here. No, I don't want to do that. All right, there we go. Sorry. All right, I'm trying not to move my stand. All right, so I'm going to go underneath right here. And then I'm going to tie it in a knot. And I'm going to tie it as close as I can so I don't have to cut as much. Okay, tie that. And tie another knot. Make sure it's on there real good. All right. And then I'm going to clip it. All right, and then tie this other one on. See how it goes. I'll show you what that looked like. So see how it's tied on and then cut. And then I'm going to put this other one on and do the same thing. Sorry, I'm trying to keep it all in the frame here. Got that a little long. Okay, so that is now tied. I'm going to clip it. You do have to cut these short. I got an alert on my phone. Okay, so they're on there nice and tight. Let me zoom out. Okay, so the directions want you to hold these up at a right angle Okay, I can't show the whole thing here, so I'm going to kind of pull it up and then hold it taut, and then come down here and then tie it off. The reason why you want to do it is because you think you might have gotten them even, but after tying them, you certainly don't. All right, so once I tie those up, I'm going to cut it. Okay. Hold this out like this to get it taut. I'm going to put my 2 fingers in, and if you're left-handed, just do it left-handed. I'm going to hold these and pull on it, okay? And then I want to make sure and scroll all the way from the top of this gear to the bottom of the gear. So it's going to go like that. And then you see it twists top to bottom, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 20. Now the instructions for the size that I'm doing is about, it says to do it about 100 times. I'm not going to go that long because, as I said, it starts being a little bit too much. So I'm going to do it a little bit more. And let's see, I'm on 20, 21, 22, 23, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35. 37, 38, 39, 40. About 40, I can start to feel that it's a little bit tight in my hand, and I can feel it start to spin here. I've made this a little bit longer than I've done in past, where I stopped about 45 or 50. I'm going to go about 10 more and see how it feels, and then see if it starts twisting up on itself. 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. Okay, I can start to really feel it here. 51, 52, 53, 54, 55. Now, I can really tell that it's pulling on. You can't see it as much, but like, let's see if I can get it to focus. Sorry, I've got my hand. I can't make it focus, but you can see it really twisting up. It doesn't look like that long thing. It's all twisted. Do you see that? So I'm gonna go a little bit more. Okay, so when I feel like it's really really twisting, and I can feel my hands, I don't know if you can tell, but my hands are closer together than they were. Now I'm ready to go ahead and pinch here, and then I'm going to hold this up, and I'm going to let this part dangle. I'm going to let you see the dangle. What I don't want to do is twist it so much that this starts kinking up on itself and twisting up, and then they would mess it up. So I'm going to let it dangle. I'm going to hold on to this up top. Ready? So it's just going to continue twisting up, and then it will kind of go back for a second. It's almost there. And now it's going to go back. It's going to relax and then stop. So there it goes. All right, now it's stopped. Now you'll see that my cord doesn't twist up on itself. See how it's laying there? If I had laid it down, it would be a big jumbled mess. Isn't that nice? Let's just look at that cord for a second. Isn't that cool? Okay, so then what we do is we're going to twist it to where our hooks go downward like this, and then you're just going to pull them off. You're going to pull downward, but before you do that, you want to make sure and pinch it and then pull them off. All right, and then you're going to make so it's Kayla, well, that's just neater than sliced bread. Kayla says it really is. I'm like, man, I can do so much with this cord. All right, and then you just tie a knot in it. Okay, so now that I have my knot and I have a little bit of extra give here, I mean, you could tie it really close, but here's the deal is you want to tie these together. Okay, now if you want to add beads on, you can do that right now, or when you tie this together, you can add the beads on from the tie up here, and so you can have a tassel where it's like beaded here and opens up here. So you can choose to put the beads on before, in which case it will remain more like a ring with a bunch of beads on it. But I think it's actually prettier to wait and then slide them on. So you'll need a longer cord in order to have beads or something like that. Now you don't have to have beads, that's just a suggestion. So go ahead and you tie these together. Okay. All right. This is for moving on for the tassel part. Now I can tie them like this, or I can tie them together the other way. This way I've got a nice substantial knot, okay? And then you'll just take these and trim them off, either right down where those knots are, or you could cut them off right here. It's going to be hidden inside my tassel, so I'm not really worried about it. And then I've got the extra security, like, I know this is not going to be busting or anything, right? Okay, so now that we've got our cord, we have, we can set this aside and we can work on our tassels. So we're going to put this aside. I'm going to do our tassel maker. So let's open these kits up and show you what's inside. Okay, so this one is the large. And I'll show you what's actually on the back of this because it's really fun. This is what I was talking about adding beads. So you don't have to have just a plain tassel, which, come on, that's not just plain. That's really fun. But you can also put on things like beaded work and stuff. They've shown on little purses. You can put it on your draperies. You can put it on a gift. Make a keychain out of it, whatever you want. It's your imagination. They've even put it on the bottom of one of these, like a macrame plant holder. This particular one is actually knit. If you look closely, that's a knit one, and then you can add your tassel to the bottom of that. It's pretty cool. Yeah, Clover makes some really good stuff. Someone says, I love Clover stuff. I do too. So we've got, this is the large one. Oh yeah, look at all these fancy ones up top. Aren't those cool? I mean, I don't know if I do the flower one, but that's a really, I really love them showing the ideas. I mean, that just lets your imagination soar. I mean, look at all these beads. That's so cool, right? Or you can do a nice a decorative background here. You could even make earrings. I mean, how cool is that? All right, I'm getting myself distracted, people. Remember, if you're watching replay, this was live, so I'm responding to some comments too. All right. All right, so here's that. Now on the back here, it also says make 5 sizes. It makes a 2 3/8, which is 6 centimeter, all the way to a 4-inch. Yeah, 2 3/8 inches, which is a 6 centimeter, and then all the way to a 4-inch, 10 centimeter. Now it slides. I'll show you why, but it actually slides to these increments. So it's not in between those numbers. It's like, that's the numbers. That's the size that it makes. And then of course you can trim them shorter. So you could make it longer and then trim it down if you want to. All right, so what's inside is instructions. One is in Spanish, which I don't read, but it's good if you need Spanish directions. And then one is in English. All right, so you've got all these directions here. I'm not going to read the directions and be boring. I do want to show you, though, that it shows you the size of the tassel maker for the small and the large maker. And it shows you that all the different sizes, how you make them larger. So you can see that when you get it. Now, just to go over the anatomy of a cord, I mean, a tassel, you have the cord here. And then you have the head, which is up top, and then you have the neck, which is this part that goes around it. So if I say cord, head, and neck, you know what I'm talking about. Now, the things that you're going to need is paper. I'm actually using a cardstock, just an, you know, a card, an index card. Like a 3x5 card. Now it says to trim them to a certain size, but I found that this is, this works really well for me. And then you're going to need your scissors, of course, and a ruler and adhesive tape. Now that's if you're using the paper thing. I'm not actually going to use the tape in mine. And then optionally you can use a comb, and that's just to help you. You'll see in a little bit to kind of comb some of these down. I didn't use a comb. I used my fingers, but you could use a comb. Okay, and then we need our thread for the tassels. Okay, so that's going to be this. All right, and then we're going to need a strand to tie to the center, approximately 12 inches. So I've already got that cut. And then we need our strand to wind around the neck. And that is this one. And it says approximately 16 inches. You can have it longer than that. I would suggest maybe even 18. I got big fumbling fingers, so 18 or even 20 is fine. You can cut it off once you feel like you've wound enough. And then of course you need your cord, okay, that you've made. And then let's see, and you want to make sure that it's something that's going to not break when you're tying knots in them. So if it's going to be fragile, you're not going to want to use it. You can use the more fragile stuff for wrapping for these right here, but don't use it for the cord or the part that ties it together, if that makes sense. You could use a crochet nylon thread or something if you need that for tying this part, this part here for the head or the neck. Yeah, or for tying the middle, or for tying the neck. Okay, so let's make our tassel. And then, of course, we've got the small one to the side. All right. Move my stuff around here. You're going to, let me set my directions out just to make sure I'm not leaving a step out for you guys. Hold on. I mean, I know it because I've done it, but I just want to make sure. Okay, so you're going to set your tassel maker at the size that you want. So this is the smallest setting. And then in order to make it larger, you can also flip on the back. Do you see these little arrows here? Okay, this is what's going to show you a center line later on. It also shows you like, hey, I can make other sizes. So when you unscrew these, okay, you unscrew them enough, it makes this loose, and then you slide it down to where these points line up. Okay, so I would tighten that up, come over here and slide it to here and tighten that up. Okay. I'm having a little bit of a lag. Hopefully the lag, if you're seeing me live, hopefully it won't be lagged on the replay. I'll try and slow down. All right, so you've got this little part here in the back that has an opening. This is where your yarn is going to hook in, and it's identical on the other side. If I turn it and flip it, it's the same way on the other end. So whether I turn it this way or turn it this way, it's the same loom. Or I'm calling it a loom. It's a tassel maker. All right. So I'm going to start by getting the end of my thread to use, or my yarn to use for my tassel. And we're going to scoop it and put it underneath this little, whoops, it's going to go on the back side. So I'm going to put it underneath here. See this? So the tail is on the outside, and I'm going to go get it up there and hooked on and go around the middle and go down and around again. That's one around. So you're just going to continue to wrap this to get the thickness you want. Let's see, say I've done 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Okay, so I did 18 around. I did 30 with this one. Let's see, I'm gonna go a little bit more. 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. I'm gonna do 24. I don't necessarily want to do 30. And the more revolutions, I'm going to stop just for a second so you see it. The more revolutions you go around, the thicker your tassel will be. Case in point, here is one that I made on the small tassel maker, and I wrapped it like 40 times, so like 20 with each color, because I held 2 with one, and see how short and squatty it makes it. Now, I might not necessarily want this for all projects, but it would be good for certain ones. So just know that you can do it. It's like having a combination between a tassel and a pom-pom. It's so poofy. But yeah, you can just play with it. All right, it's not much yarn, so feel free to experiment. Okay, and then when you're done, you're going to come around and stop it here on the opposite side. Okay, and then get it in there nice and tight, and you're going to go ahead and clip that off, and you can set this aside. All right, and now we're going to take our thread that goes to wrap around the middle to tie it. And we're going to tie a knot. Oh, whoops, I'm sorry. I'm skipping a step. Oh, Kristen, can't tie it yet. So sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself. All right, so you're going to take the cord that you did and see the knot. We're going to put it below where the center line is. I moved mine up one notch, so my center line is actually right here to right here. These little carrots that are triangles that match. So I'm going to go bury this in the center and kind of make sure that it's in the middle here. Okay. And then we want the knot to be below that line. It can be a little further below and then you pull it out, but make sure it's definitely below that line. And now I'm going to tie this on. And I'm going to tie this on at the center line. Tie a knot. Let's see if I can zoom in. Make sure this is. Tie the knot, and then we're going to flip it to the other side. And then tie that knot. And you can tie it another time if you think that you didn't quite get it. Just repeat that process. My cord is a lot longer than 12 inches, but I figured I had plenty of yarn. And I'm going to go right above where that was to make sure that I've tied that in tight and I'm not just tightening on top of another knot. All right, there we go. And then we're just going to trim that. You don't need the tails to show. Okay. And then now we're going to trim this part here on both ends. We're going to go up through this channel and hold on to our tassel and cut. Okay. And then I'm going to go to the other side and cut. And once you cut, these little pieces that were attached are no longer attached. So you've already done that extra trimming. You know, sometimes on pom-pom makers, you might have like this extra yarn. That's not so, it's already done. So on this tassel maker, it works really well. So now we need to go find our cord. We find that, okay, and then flip it down around. Now this is where that comb would come in handy. I could use a like a wide tooth comb, not a brush, but just something to kind of brush these around. I just don't really want to do that with mine. So a little mop head here is what we're getting. I'm gonna zoom out just a little bit, sorry. Hopefully it's not too close. All right, so we've got our little, I think of this as Cousin It. All right, so we're gonna go down here and we wanna make the neck, okay? So I see that this is ragged. I'm telling you, I recognize it's ragged. We're going to trim this up later. I'll show you how. But we're going to make the neck portion now. So you're going to take your other yarn that you've set aside, the 16 inches. I say 18 or 20 is fine. All right, so this is the part that can be a little fiddly. So bear with me for a second. So we're going to put the tail end up here, kind of where the cord is. All right, so you can hold that up there. And then you're going to make a loop. You're going to go down and put your thumb down and create a loop. You're going to wrap around like this. Okay, so we're creating this loop here. Okay, so I'm going to go down here to where I want this neck to start, and then this tail is going to wrap around. We're going to leave this loop exposed and make sure that you don't wrap up this tail up here with the cord. That's what I'm saying, kind of stick it with the cord. All right, so I'm going to wrap around. The first part can be a little fiddly until you get it all in there. Make sure I have a nice neck. Grab this. Make sure my loop is ready. Once I have that in place, I'm going to go around it. Okay, so I'm avoiding that. I'm going right on top, but I'm making sure not to go and cover that loop up. So now let's see how I've got it trapped in now. So there's a loop here, and I'm just going to go around and around and around. Round and around and around. Make sure to not get this tail end. Okay. Okay, so I have my neck trapped in how I want it. All right. I made mine extra long, so I have like all this extra yarn here. All right, so now I'm going to take this loop. I'm going to take take this end that I've been wrapping with, and now it goes through the loop. We're going to feed it through the loop. I'm going to pull down, and then I'm going to hold this tail at the top that we have by the cord. I'm going to take the tail that I've been working with, it's now through the loop, and I'm going to pull on them. And so what that does is I am now pulling up. I'm pulling that loop closed, and I'm getting that tail tucked in, which will be a tail in a minute, because I'm going to pull all this up here. Then I can safely cut this thread. Yes, I cut the thread. And then this long one, I'm going to trim it down here. I don't need to cut it up here because, hey, it's now part of the tassel. And then now all we have left is to trim. Okay, so I'm going to take my piece of paper, right? So this is the paper that they said you're going to cut it to a specific size, and it goes into that in the directions, and you can do that, but I'm a rebel. So I just take this index card and wrap it around. Okay, make sure all this is smooth how I want it. And then I'm going to get it down to the size, and I could cut this down. In fact, let me just cut this for a second. All right. So I've got a straight edge here. This is my cut edge, so I'm not, just in case it's not straight. But I want to put the straight edge on this one side here. Okay. I'm going to go all the way down. I can pull this end until I get to the shortest strand. See, I'm at the shortest strand. All right. Make sure it's all even. This is where the tape comes in handy. I don't have any tape right now. My kids used it. Normal, right? So here it is. And then I'm just going to take my scissors and cut it. Look at that. Isn't that awesome? It's so awesome. And so I cut mine in half, and then I flip it, and then I cut it again just to get all those little extra hairs. I'm cutting it off to the side because I'm trying not to make too big of a mess here. Ooh, that is a mess. Hot diggity. That's what Kayla says. Ready? Boom. Is that not the best looking tassel? I mean, come on. Clover, hands down. We're not worthy. Seriously, this is really awesome. So if you have wanted to make tassels and had been disappointed by your own skills, i.e. me, this is pretty stinking awesome. You could like sell these, I'm telling you. They're so good. All right, so this was my first one I did. It has a little bit more yarn, and so you see how it's a little bit thicker. This has more times around, and then this one I went a little bit longer. See that? And then you can also do ones that are really fat. Oh, Maureen says tassels aren't so scary now. Thanks. Gayla says, no kidding. It is. I remember doing the old fashioned way and ended with a very short tassel. Exactly. And as you saw, this was not covering up the whole thing. Like it was just in the middle. So you could make it really wide, but don't. I mean, you don't need to use all this extra space. It's just, this is the space here in case you want to make something that thick. So don't feel like you have to fill this space up. You're going to have a massive tassel, which if that's what you want, you can get that. So again, what we're using is the handy thread twister. Okay, so that's to get the cord, and then you're using the tassel maker. Now I want to show you some cords, so don't go away if you're live with me right now, because I want you to see the different cords you can make. Hold on, I'm just getting this out in case people are like, what does it look like? So hold on a second. So here's the small, here's the large, and here's the handy thread twister. It doesn't say cord. I'm saying cord because the tassel maker says that. But the handy thread twister will make cords, and here's some cords that I made so you can see the variety that you can get. So here's one where I twisted a very light pink and a red. Isn't that pretty? Okay, and then here's one where I twisted a kind of a magenta and a yellow. I've even used different brands of yarn, just whatever I wanted. And then this is a nice teal and yellow. And then this one, I put a, I used this teal here, and then I used this magenta here, or purple, and I held them together on one of these. And then, and this is also important because I'm going to tell you something very important. And then this one is a little bit bulky, just a little bit. And then I put it on this other one. And then I twisted them together. And what happened is it twisted the teal and purple at the same time against this one. So it's got like this double twisted effect. Now, Kristen, why wouldn't you just twist those two together first and then twist them to that? It can't, because it goes back to that S or Z shape. Once you twist two of them together, it makes a Z shape. Do you remember me talking about the twist was going from top left to bottom right? Well, look at it now. It's the opposite. Now this is a Z shape. Now I could take two Z shapes and twist them together, but I can't take an S and a Z because it would untwist one of the plies and then twist the other one, and it would just be a mess. So I wanted you to stick around just for that. So be sure and, man, tell your friends if you know they love tassels. If they don't have one of these, they're missing out. This is going to make your life so much easier. Be sure and click on the description below or the comments, wherever we got them, and to get yours. And there's more pictures and stuff on our blog to give you more information. So oh, the GKK crowd. Thanks, Juanita. You love us. Thank you so much. So excited. Hey, Margaret, I see you caught me live and you never have before. Well, hello. I'm glad that you love them. I'm gonna flip the camera just for a second here. Woo! Oh, it's bright. Oh, it's bright. Oh my gosh, here. I can't even. Oh, I'm gonna hold this up so it like makes the thing. There it goes. Now it's not so blazing. So I'll say hi to a few of you guys. I'm so glad you liked. I'm going to go back and see these comments because it's so fun. I love that Maureen says they're not scary now. You're welcome, Catherine. I'm so glad I got to share it with you guys. I got to see this at Creativation, which is with AFCI. I got to see this a couple months ago, and I've been wanting to do a video on it, and it was so cool. I'm like, people need to know about this thing. Oh, Stitch Love by Loretta says, love Clover in your channel. Sending love to everyone. Thank you so much. Yeah, if you love this video, please share it with your friends so they can make some too. This is awesome. You could even make those cool little earrings or make your own tassel necklace. I mean, how cool, how cool. Oh, Juanita, you love the pink hat behind me? Thank you. That is my slouchy hat. That one's done on needles, and I also have a video of that. It's a newsboy slouchy hat. I have a needle version and a loom version. So anyway, I'm so glad that you caught me. Oh, and you're chatting me for the first time live. Awesome. That is awesome. So glad. Can't wait to order, Catherine says. Yay! So, yeah, oh, you just added it to your Amazon cart. Sweet. Well, I'm glad you guys got to catch me and at GoodKnit Kisses, where we help you stitch your love and help you love your stitches, and now add some tassel flair to it. Woo woo. I hope you guys have a great day. Please be sure and subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that bell icon so you get notifications when I do go live and when I get a new video. Every Friday was at 3 p.m. Central Standard, 3 p.m. Eastern Time or 2 p.m. Central. Every Friday I have a tutorial. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Have a great day and happy knitting and crochet. Bye, everyone. Ah!